Live lesson today. It's Friday on the BBR Productions YouTube channel. Today we focus on the entrepreneurial brain. Basically, how to find solutions by thinking outside the box and running your life like a business. Thus, manage your career like a business. We focus on things to make you understand the business side of entertainment. And today we're going to poke out some ideas that you should be focusing on to be better at running your business side of your entertainment career. And of course, we'll go over 3 goals that you should be jumping on as an entertainer trying to run your career like a business so you can be successful. As always, I'm Thomas J. Beleza. Please like, comment, and share this video along with subscribing for future content on how to be successful in your career, specifically the entertainment industry. Let's jump right to it. Let's get right to it, shall we? Let's do it. Manage your career like a business. Now, some of the things you want to do when you are trying to understand what is it that makes you a business. Well, let's look at an entertainer. Let's look at an actor, writer, musician, comedian. It doesn't matter. They all are entertainers. They all do the same thing, right? If you focus on your strengths, basically, what do you bring to the table? You get to say to yourself things like, hey, am I more than my music? If you are focusing on the music, if you say, hey, I bring to the table my comedy, right? Okay? Or you say, I bring my music or my art or my writing. Okay? These are not necessarily your strengths for your career. You have to look inward at your entrepreneurial brain and think about yourself as 2 things, right? You have the artist, okay, artist, and you have the business. And there's always 2 sides to your career, okay? The first career, the artist side is the fun, right? It's the fun, it's the art, creative side, creative, right? It's the hang out, it's playtime, right? Playtime. And you think, no, the artist brain is how I make my money. But that's not true. You don't make money with your art. Your art is the reward. It's the thing that you get to do passionately because you ran your career as an artist properly. You ran the business side of your career properly enough to get rewarded, to have fun, be creative, play, playtime, stuff like that, right? The thing is, not every artist is a business, right? They don't think like a business. They just think, well, I have to focus on my strengths, right? Manage your career like a business, focus on your strengths. What do you bring to the table? They think, well, I bring the fun. I'm great to have on set, or I'm creative. I'm really good at writing music, or I just want to have, I just want to play. I just want to get paid to do what I love. That's all artist brain, but none of that actually makes you any money. What makes you money is you built a relationship, you manage yourself to have a point where your brand is established, where people go, oh, I want to work with that person again, and they reach out to you because they remember you and your value, not necessarily that you were the most amazing actor in the world, because if that was the case, Marlon Brando would not have been blacklisted. They would have been like, oh, it's Marlon Brando. And, well, he doesn't memorize anymore. He's difficult on set. He needs people to hold cue cards. We just don't want to deal with him. They would have never said that. They would have been like, it's Marlon Brando. Just get him here. Whatever his demands are. Pay him whatever he wants. But no, his pay went down because he wanted to work, and people were like, you're too much of a risk. You have to get insurance for this guy because he might flop on the film. So your artist side doesn't necessarily make you the money, but this is the fun side. So today we're focusing on the business brain. Focus on your strengths within your career. And the reason you think about what do you bring to the table is when you're running the business side of your career, you want to do 2 main things. The first one is, what skills do I have beyond the artist brain, beyond my art, that allow me to build my company better, that fit within people, brand, or solve, right? So it's one of these 3. What are the strengths that fit into people, brand, and solve? The second part is, what do you bring to the table for others? That's the second. So the first part is, what do I bring to the table for my business to establish people, brands, or solve, right? We'll go over that at the end of the video. And the second part is, how do I give to others? What skill, other than creativity, other than the artist brain, What can I do to help others? Am I good at marketing things? Am I good at social media? Am I good at bringing people together? Am I good at managing time, money, or the people involved in a project? Think about like the physical truth of what you're good at and not necessarily the creative or the fun or the playtime. And those two things are going to help you establish value sets. So basically, you're going to build value sets within your company and you're going to build value sets working with other people. The second thing is build your brand. Okay. You, as a business, you want to focus on building your brand. Let your purpose draw audiences. Remember, we've talked about it a couple times, especially on Wednesday, writing Wednesday, like when we talk about craft and like how to write and stuff like that. We've discovered that people have to discover your brand and what you stand for. So if you focus on building your brand by representing your brand, fuel your purpose, create what do you believe in, right? Your brand can't just be, well, I want to have fun. Your brand can't be, I want to just entertain people. Your brand has to have a purpose. Every brand, every actor, writer, musician, everybody has a brand. When you think of Brad Pitt, what do you think of? What kind of movies do you think of? When you think of Metallica, what kind of music do you think of? What kind of show do you think of? All of that is a part of their brand. But it's not just like Metallica plays on stage and they're heavy metal, right? Their songs have a purpose. There's a message within their lyrics, right? Especially Master Puppets. If we look at Master Puppets as a song, what is one of the things it's about? Drugs taking over, right? Master Puppets are pulling your strings, right? There's a message there. They're trying to bring awareness to that. They might not have like a pure intention to be like, hey, let's help people recognize their drug addiction. But their music did have a consistency to the message within, sanitarium, like all those songs, like going crazy, dealing with anxieties, things like that. Okay. So you focus to build your brand. You let your purpose draw audience. So just create the truth. So if you're going to do art, let your art be consistent with your purpose. Let it have some sort of voice to what's important to you. And remember, brand is your voice, your image, and the conversation the audience has with you. Your voice, how do we figure out what your voice is? It's your missions, morals, and ideologies, and basically the things that are important to you. And you kind of like put that into your creative side. Even as an actor, you should, especially in the beginning of your career, start picking roles that represent your purpose. There are some actors that go, I'm not going to do that role because I don't like the subject matter. It doesn't really fit with me, right? But also, Denzel Washington had a very specific brand he wanted to work with. And he got offered a job, very high paying, to basically be a burglar, a killer, and he was like, I don't want that. I want to have purpose in my roles. So he does things like Roots, and obviously now in his older age, he's doing different roles compared to that, but he's already established himself at this point. But it was very smart on his part in the beginning of his career to focus on how do I establish who I am and what I stand for, right? That's why Gene Hackman was always known as being the what character actor. He was the go-to character actor. I just gave my age away with Gene Hackman. Anyway, all right. The third thing is continuously evolve. As a business, manage your career like a business. You should continuously evolve. Learn a little, learn a lot. You should be learning your industry. Now, actors, writers, musicians, whatever the case may be, they think learning the industry is how do I tell a better joke? How do I write better scripts? How do I act better, right? All that is artist though. You reward yourself with that. Do that, but we're talking business today, just the business side of your entertainment career. So if you focus on learning a little and learning a lot of the industry, how it works, are there contracts? Are there unions you could get involved in? Why? This is why we learn the industry, because we go, oh, wait, why am I focusing on just trying to get my reel together as an actor instead of getting involved, volunteering my time with a union? And why would you volunteer with a union? That's a great question. Well, people. The more people you're around within your industry, the more you can represent your brand, because more and more people see your brand and they go, oh, I know who you are. And the more and more opportunities are created. But if you're just like, hey, I'm at the union, I'm meeting some actors. I'm an actor. I would love to work. If you're ever looking for an actor, hire me. You're doing it wrong. You're thinking like an artist. You're not thinking like a business. The business is You want to add, right? What is it? What do you bring to the table? You want to add value to the people you meet, and you want to add value through your brand. Okay. So keep that in mind. But you want to learn more than the industry. You want to learn the industry, yes, but you also want to learn the outside of your industry. Just like, for example, as a musician, a writer, an actor, you need an accountant. So learn and understand. And again, it's learn a little of a lot, right? So I'm not saying learn how to be an accountant, but understand how the accountant job works and what it takes for you to represent your business, tax exempts, etc. So you know how to prepare that for your accountant, or more importantly, you can see if people are trying to take advantage of you, right? You don't want to turn into Johnny Depp or Wesley Stipes or even Nicolas Cage, where people took advantage of him. His accountants took advantage. Understand a little bit of a lot. So even the law, like a contract, yes, bring a contract to a lawyer always, but you should still be able to look at the contract enough to understand what it is you're looking at. All right, and understand what should be in an like you could be reading, just glossing over before you even get to the lawyer and be like, whoa, there's no protective clause, there's no release clause, there's no, you know what I'm saying? Hey, there's what about me? Or it says here the marketing, bands when you get signed, sometimes in the record label will say the marketing is going to be this much, and you're like, but it doesn't say what the marketing is going to be. And a lot of times they'll say $50,000 for marketing. You can look this up in the contract, and it turns out they're not actually going to do $50,000 in marketing. They're just going to do things and say it costs $50,000. So it's important to know those little things. Next, develop a long-term plan. An artist, their long-term plan is make a living or make money, or hey, I want to be in a film, or I want to be cast as a lead in something. A musician might say, hey, I want to play a festival. I want at least an album. This is all artist brain. It's all creative. Develop a long-term plan. We do that so we know where you're going and how you'll get there. A plan is important because we want to establish milestones and achievements and accomplishments, but not just I want to play a show or I want to get it cast. You have to think bigger than that as a business. You got to think, what do I want to do with my money as I get my money? How do I want to develop my business, my career? For example, Brad Pitt created Plan B. So he started as an actor, a background actor. He evolved into that bit part in Thelma and Louise. From there, he started changing the way he was cast because he didn't want to be the pretty boy. That's all he was getting after Thelma and Louise, right? Oh, when you do a film, you get all these opportunities. Yeah, he was. He was being typecast as the pretty boy, and he was like, I don't want that. So he did True Romance as the druggie, right? The pothead, and then he did Legend of the Fall, and then he did A River Runs Through It, and right, he started throwing around so he can just actually perform and become something more. And he created the brand. Now, obviously, again, as you become more and more successful, you can change that. You have more freedom once your brand is established, right? Uh, but the long term goal was start as a background, get into acting, establish my brand, so I am not seen as a pretty boy. And then he was like, let me create a Plan B production company, so I am in control of the productions because you make more money as a producer. But he still wanted to act, but he also wanted to finance people because his mission, his purpose, right? You got to let your purpose draw audiences. His purpose was to do more for the people trying to create opportunities and good stories. So whereas other producers would say, no, I'm not interested in that, he was picking very specific kind of stories. Okay, and yes, he was also picking things like Mr. and Mrs. Smith and stuff like that. But if you look at his, you know, what's that? The Moneyball, right? That was something that was important to him. He took some moment in history, and his company Plan B produced that. All right, so moving on. So anyway, think of your long-term goals. Like what is it you can accomplish and grow as a business, and how can you get to the part where you have the most power and most influence to help others? Okay, that should be your goal in anything. All right. Even bands, by the way, they eventually create record labels. Eminem has a record label. Metallica has a record label. Slipknot has a record label. Bon Jovi created a record. Like bands create record labels because get to the top and then help others. Okay. Have a strong team you work with. Very important to listen to. Have a strong team you work with. You work for your employees, but work with a team. And what that means is if you own a business and a brick and mortar, or you have employees that work for you work for them because you have to pay them. They're helping you by doing tasks. You hired them to perform tasks, but you work for them. You have to keep that business open so you can continue to afford them. They're being hired to do tasks. There's a big difference in that. That's why there's a difference between having a strong team and basically just hiring employees. What I'm saying to do as a business, right? Manage your career like a business is build a team that you work with, all right, where everybody in the team has a voice. It's collaborative. And the reason I say that, Adam Sandler and his team, Seth Rogen and his team, Martin Scorsese and his team. Okay, Metallica, Anthrax, and Slayer, and another band. I think Megadeth with the Big Four. They went on tour. Ozzy Osbourne did the Ozfest, got a bunch of bands together. They created a team that really made that thing happen. Okay. So think beyond yourself. Remember, your success is not about you, it's about the people you surround yourself with. With that said, though, without you, there is no career. So you're important to take action, be proactive. But if you rely on yourself as the only reason you're going to be successful, you'll never find it. You have to be inviting, and you have to be giving. All right. Now, obviously, have your boundaries. Okay. So before I get to this last thing, I'm going to take a sip. Mm. And I want to remind everybody, especially because this is on Facebook groups, YouTube, and Twitch. So like, comment, and share the video along with subscribing for future content to be successful in your career, specifically the entertainment industry. I'd really appreciate it if you do go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. We're trying to grow and enhance the world around us. Why do we want to elevate others and ourselves? So we can work, grow, and rise together. That's the whole purpose of life, is how we elevate the ones that are around us and elevate ourselves so we can be better and do better. Okay, let's do it. Oh, we're doing good, 17 minutes. All right, we're almost done. Goals. Your goal as a business, all right? Manage your career like a business. With these things, there are other things, but these are things you should focus on right now as you're starting your career. But the reason we focus on that is because our main goals is people, brand, and solve. So what does that mean? People, there's a couple of things, right? Right off the bat, you want to get involved with others. You want people to get involved with you. You want to have a strong team around you. If you think that people aren't important, who casts films, writers, directors, producers, and casting directors help organize that. So you got to know other people. You can't just be like, well, I want to work on this film. They're going to be like, who are you? If you're a band, you go, hey, I'd like to play. If you go to a club and you just start showing up and setting up your stuff, they'll be like, who are you? They're like, oh, we're going to play the club. No, you got to know people. You got to know the promoter. You got to know the owner. So it's good to establish people in your life. Create a circle of influence. Circle of influence is not people that can influence your career. A circle of influence is how they influence good habits. How they influence to elevate, right? But you also should be influencing your people too in your circle of influence. All right. So people is all about getting involved and getting people involved with you and growing your team and establishing basically your circle of influence. The next part is a brand. What is a brand? A brand is your missions, morals, and ideologies. It's your image. It's your voice. It's the conversation that people are having about you. The only way you could do that is by getting involved, by representing your brand, by doing the things you believe in. If you believe that people should be good to one another, be good to one another. If your brand is about teamwork, do a lot of things that involve teamwork. If your brand is about helping people, help people. Okay? But more importantly, the reason you do that is because as you're establishing relationships with people, right? You have to establish a brand with those people so they remember you. The imprint of an emotional connection they have with you is the brand. How do you prove that? Next time you're talking to a friend that's close to you, it could be a best friend, but it could also just be friends that you know. You say, what do you think about when, like, if you had to describe me to somebody, what is it you say to them? What are some of my qualities that stand out to you? And they'll tell you, and that's your brand. And what they're telling you, by the way, is the conversation of your audience. Okay, so think like that. You can do that. It doesn't hurt to ask people what they get from you, what your vibe is. Oh, when I think of you, every time I think of you, I always learn something from you, or you always make me laugh, or you always blah, blah, blah. And then you get to say to yourself, is that what I want to be representing? Do I want to be known as the person that always makes people laugh, or do I want to be the person that makes people think? And how do you get people to think? Say things that are interesting to the point where it's educating outside of what people know, right? So that's why a brand is important. It creates direction, it creates motivation and purpose, right? So I know I want to help people. So what do? I do these free videos. I do speaking engagements. I have a consulting company. I offer my services for free to a lot of people that I believe in. I mentor. I have lots of mentorships for 20 plus years. Okay. All right, next is solve. Solve is very important for a career or a business as an entertainer. What are you solving? What is the problem you're solving? Now, as an actor, you might say, "Well, I'm an actor, so I'm entertaining people." But again, what is the material you are entertaining? If people watch your movies, right, or your performances, what is the message behind that? When they watch you, are your performances or the plays or the movies or the shows you work on, are they thrillers? Do you like right? Are you solving that people want to feel the thrill? They want to experience a murder mystery, or are you like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? What are they solving? Action movies. Arnold Schwarzenegger solves the hole, the emptiness, the void where there weren't these big tough guys. Action movies, right? Now Jason Statham's there and The Rock, right? They're filling that void. Okay, so you have to think like that. With music, right? There's a whole bunch of death metal bands. There's a whole bunch of heavy metal bands. There's a whole bunch of rock bands. There's a whole bunch of pop stars. But what is it you solve? Now, of course, by the way, if you just, I just want to be a successful pop star, or you could do imprint marketing, which is you just spend money on getting something seen a million times. So if you have a song and you just want the song to be big, you just spend money on it. Just literally just spend money. Just, hey, check this out, check this out, check this out, check this out, and imprint marketing. That's what I like when you're driving back in the day. If you heard a song, that's what imprint marketing is. You're like, I don't want to listen to that. I never heard it. And then you hear it again. You're like, I don't want to listen to that. But it's on so much that eventually your friend is like, oh, I like this song. And they leave it on. You're like, oh, fine, whatever. And then you're like, not that bad. And then by the third or fourth time it comes on, the friend's like, oh, yeah, you don't like this. And you're like, you can leave it. That's imprint marketing. It's when it's pounded into you, when you oversaturate somebody with that. But what that does is you're only focusing on a thing, a product. What I'm always focusing on is on you. You are the brand. You got to remember there are things, okay? Okay? And then there is you. And marketing affects what you push on it. So if I just market the thing, right? Once the thing is done marketing, and I'm like, well, I moved on to a new thing. Now you have to start over. Your marketing literally starts over. All the numbers change. You got to put money back into it because you have to re-educate your audience. But if you focus on marketing you and your brand and what you stand for, you start developing a strong relationship with the audience. And then what happens? They want content. So once you've established a strong audience, which by the way is going to sound like a crazy number, but you want 10,000 true fans, okay? 10,000 true fans. All right. And that means that you literally have earned the right to do whatever you want at that point. You can make movies, right? Have you ever seen a musician come out and then now they're acting? Now they're writing books. Now they have a clothing line. Now they have jewelry. Now they have makeup. Now they have perfume. Now they have whatever. And the reason is because obviously they have more than 10,000 true fans, but they earned the right to create consistent content and they developed a brand which people connected to. That's what people connect to a brand's emotion. So those are the things you should be focusing on. Okay, your goal should be to establish relationships with people, develop a brand that actually represents you and your truth, so people connect to you, and then solve problems with what it is you do, and also what you create. Allow your artistic side to solve a void, and you have to be beyond just entertaining. It has to represent something very specific. All right, that's it, man. Please like, comment, and share the video along with subscribing for future content. And I say this with much love is the reason we share these videos and the reason I do these videos for free, and I do free speaking engagements, stuff like that. It's because I believe knowledge is power and we want to elevate people around us. Because if others are elevated and we elevate ourselves, it gives us a chance to really connect in a way where we could say, wait a minute, we're all doing great things. We all have possibility inside of us. So why don't we work, grow, and rise together? So working together, growing together, rising together. Do what you can to be good, help others, peace and harmony, and remember, be good to people. All right. Take care. I'll see you Monday through Friday. I'll see you next time.